Good morning, distinguished guests, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and to pay our respects from AngloGold Ashanti to the elders past and present. I'd also like to welcome His Excellency, Minister Karim Badawi, Minister for Mineral Resources of Egypt, and thank you for that excellent exposition of your strategy. Also to the Honourable Emmanuel Amar Kofi-Bua, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources of Ghana, and the Honourable Ishmael Nabe, the Minister for Planning and International Cooperation in Guinea. It's an honour and no small feat to address a group of esteemed leaders who share our vision for a safe, competitive and sustainable mining sector. And as AngloGold, we're immensely proud to operate in each of your countries and to be building partnerships, long-term partnerships that deliver value for our host nations, for our vitally important host communities, and for our shareholders. Let me see if I can get this going. Great. I think a lot has been said about Africa Down Under. I think I attended the first one in 2002 in a different lifetime. But this has grown into what it is today, which is a conference here in Western Australia that recognizes not only Africa's extraordinary mineral wealth, but also the vast potential that it holds for our future. We've long held that if you're going to be a serious global mining company, you cannot afford not to be in any jurisdiction, but for us, the most important is and always has been Africa. It's our heritage. It is where, as AngloGold Ashanti, we were born, and it's where, through innumerable ups and downs, economic cycles, and all the trials and tribulations that face global mining companies, we've created decades-long partnerships to start to unlock that potential in Africa. Again, for a big and wide-reaching group of stakeholders. Africa is, and always has been, the source of most of our production and the lion's share of our future growth. Pardon me. Let me just go back one. For those of you who may not be familiar with AngloGold Ashanti, we're a company, as I mentioned, born in South Africa. We're now headquartered in the US, and our primary listing is on the New York Stock Exchange. Our African roots run very deep. We're the largest gold producer on the continent by some way, and we have its best portfolio of Tier 1 assets, bar none. This year, we're forecast to do a little over 3 million ounces of production. Two-thirds of that will come from the continent. The AngloGold in our name reflects our South African heritage, spun out of the Anglo-American stable many years ago now, where we had built a century-old reputation as being the world's preeminent ultra-deep gold miner. The Ashanti comes from the Ashanti Goldfields, which was founded in 1897, the first African mining company to list on the New York Stock Exchange. A very proud company and a name that we're very proud to continue to carry. And it speaks to our heritage in Ghana's Ashanti region. When these two companies merged in 2004, we created a truly global Pan-African company with experience and assets across North and South America, here in Western Australia, where we've been going for longer than this conference, and of course, in Africa. We have operations in Ghana, in Guinea, in Tanzania, the DRC, and most recently in Egypt, which, as the Minister mentioned, is a 5,000-year-old gold mining camp that not many other jurisdictions can boast. We believe it has enormous potential, and we are determined to tap that potential. We have one of the largest resource bases in the industry, and I'll acknowledge my colleague Phil Newton here, who heads our Greenfields exploration team, which is not the second, not the third, but the most successful exploration team in the global major gold mining industry. We have a diversified portfolio It's designed for stability, for scale, and for cost competitiveness. I think it's important just to talk about why AngloGold is well placed in Africa in terms of the strength of our business. It wasn't always so. If we rewind about 3 or 4 years, we'd had a few years of challenges in the business, long period of underperformance, costs had blown out, we had a tricky balance sheet, and we set ourselves with a new management team that came in a very clear mission, and that was to, it's also coincidentally, Minister, a 6-point strategy that we had, which was to regain cost competitiveness and to narrow the value gap that had long existed with a lot of our peers, particularly North American and Australian peers. So the 6 pillars for us, the first was to improve safety. That's the beginning of every conversation for us. We decided to narrow down our focus on the key things that can hurt people on mine sites and to develop a clear list of mitigation steps that everybody could memorize by heart. We had a pretty Byzantine operating model, confusing, multi-layered, and in a very short, focused stretch of work at the end of 21, we cleaned that up. We eliminated duplication through the business, and we moved resources, mandates, and day-to-day decision-making closer to the operations where the money's made. We implemented a full asset potential program, which was shamelessly cribbed from some of our larger peers. And that was a clear site-owned transformation project that optimized performance, but also embedded a more predictable way of operating in our business so that we could become more predictable and more stable. We often ask that of our host governments, but we should often look in the mirror first for it. So that's what we look to do. We improved discipline of capital allocation and emphasized the absolute importance of creating a fortress balance sheet for the business. We don't control the cost of our product, and it's important for us that the balance sheet is strong regardless of the cycle we're in, so that we can ensure that our assets are always properly capitalized, whether we're at a record gold price like we are today, or if it's much lower, which is ultimately where these things go in a cyclical business. And we looked at a policy to return a reasonable portion of our surplus cash to shareholders in order to maintain discipline and a strong valuation. Number 5, in case you're keeping track, was to focus the business, and that was to sell and get rid of the distractions that had plagued us for a long time. We had some never-ending stories in the portfolio, like our Gramalote project in Colombia. We sold that. We sold some assets recently in Ivory Coast that we had acquired along with the Centamin transaction. In Brazil, we've announced the sale of our MSG mine. We closed a loss-making CDS mine. And then on the buy side of that equation, we bought Centamin, which I'll get into in a little more detail in a minute. But it gave us that Sukari gold mine, which you saw in the previous slide. And then finally, we had to make sure we had the correct corporate structure. And that meant placing ourselves in the world's largest capital market, the largest gold market, and alongside those highly valued peers in the US. We maintain a very important and large presence in Johannesburg, a secondary listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, but our headquarters has moved to Denver. The results have been significant, and on almost every measure. We are now the gold industry's safest company. We have injury rates of less than 1 injury per million hours worked on our mines. And for a country with the geographic base that we have, with a dispersed portfolio, with a very large workforce of more than 30,000 people, that's an extraordinary achievement. We ensure we remain humble and very clear with ourselves that we're only as good as our last injury-free day. Our costs over that period, since the end of 21, in real terms have been flat, while our peer group of majors have seen their costs increase by 15%. And so the very large gap that existed has closed. and that's against the worst inflation that we've seen in a generation. Our balance sheet is incredibly strong. We have no leverage. In the first half of this year alone, we generated nearly $1 billion of free cash. We have a guaranteed minimum dividend for shareholders. Importantly, we're putting a lot of money back into our operations to make sure that they extend life. And the market has, I think, given us some credit for that. Operational delivery is on course. We have a growing track record of reliability. We've hit guidance on all of our key metrics, which, again, wasn't always the case. And the net result is we are the best performing gold stock, major gold stock, over that period, bar none. Just a look at our operations that have made that all possible. I think appropriately we'll begin in Ghana. Ghana is, of course, Africa's largest gold producer. And let me again recognize Minister Kofi Bua, who during his first year in office has shown us tremendous support as we grow to ramp up production and realize our investments, Minister. Minister is accessible, he is attentive, and he's committed to growing Ghana's mining industry in the right way. And at the end of the day, once you've crossed the hurdle of geology, what more could you ask for in any jurisdiction? Aside from the excellent geology, we have a stable and predictable legislative regime. We have excellent infrastructure, including clean power, and abundant skills born of Ghana's long tradition and proud tradition as a gold mining jurisdiction. More than 99% of our workforce is Ghanaian, including world-class leadership at both of our sites. We have Obuasi, that everyone would know is a magnificent and complex ore body in equal measure, with an unparalleled mix of high grade, scale, and longevity. In recent years, we've put a lot of money into that operation, nearly $1 billion, and we've transformed how we mine it, matching the method to the grade and ground conditions, and that is already improving safety, flexibility, and ultimately production and cost. Last year, we did 221,000 ounces out of Obuasi. In the first half of this year, we're up a third year on year in the first half, and we're looking to have that operation at 400,000 ounces by 2028, and we'll stay there well into the third decade of operation. At Iduapriem, our smaller operation, nevertheless, it's been a metronome for us, a very steady production. Work is underway to extend mine life and optimize how we develop this world-class geology with our world-class Ghanaian skills. Those skills in Ghana, we employ more than 8,000 people directly and indirectly, and support tens of thousands more through procurement and local business development, which is a part of the long tradition in AngloGold Ashanti of ensuring we grow participation in the value chain. And again, we understand that that is something very close to the Minister's heart. We also have Africa's most successful public-private health partnership, which covers more than 1 million Ghanaians in ridding vast areas around the Ashanti region of the scourge of malaria. We've managed to reduce incidence by 95% over 2 decades, with enormous benefits in childhood development, workplace and school absenteeism, and that is obviously a virtuous circle. Last year, a very conservative AngloGold Ashanti took its first step in 2 decades into the M&A space, which we didn't do lightly. We made our acquisition of acquiring Centamin and bringing Sukari into our portfolio. I needn't speak any more about this operation. I think, Minister, you did a great job. It's by every measure a tier 1 asset, large scale, long life, low cost. And there's not one of our people, either during the due diligence phase or since, who've been there who aren't blown away. When the Minister says he'll host you in Egypt, he means it literally. We took 30 large institutional investors and analysts to Cairo in March. He met with us for 2.5 hours in his office, answered every question that could be thrown at him, and I think, again, is a testament to your commitment, Minister. Since 2010, Sukari has produced more than 6 million ounces, and in its first half year with us, It's given us just around 250,000 ounces, making it clearly one of our marquee assets. We expect to further enhance value at the site through our full asset potential program, which kicked off there last month, Minister, and by leveraging our global abilities in scale across procurement, supply chain, and talent. That's a two-way process. We've already learnt valuable lessons, again, from Egypt on vehicle maintenance, where performance on the site is better than anything we have in our portfolio. Again, Sukari's workforce, close to 98% Egyptian, which is extraordinary given that it's the only large mining operation in the country so far. And again, testament to the pipeline of talent that comes through in a country that promises so much. Again, the contribution so far has been more than $1 billion to Egypt's economy through royalties and profit share. And obviously, with our plans for the asset, for exploration, and the very healthy gold price, we think we'll eclipse that in no time. We have more than 3,000 square kilometers of exploration ground in the Arabian-Nubian Shield. We're applying our world-class exploration expertise to a region where we see boundless opportunity. What underpins our enthusiasm in Egypt are these legislative and regulatory reforms, which show clear support for increased investment in mining and exploration. And again, Minister, you've proven to be a true partner for us in our first year in the country, along with engineer Yasser Ramadan, also in the front from EMRA, and are both, I think, a perfect exemplar of your country's aim to grow contribution to GDP fivefold in the coming years. We've no doubt you'll achieve the goal. We look forward to being along for the journey. In Guinea, we operate the Siguiri mine. This is not too far from the Mali border in Upper Guinea. It's an open pit, multi-open pit operation that's been a consistent performer for us for more than 20 years. Importantly, given the extraordinary geology in Guinea, in the Siguiri Basin, where we hold a preeminent position, we know we have only scratched the surface. In the first half of this year, Siguiri delivered us 165,000 ounces, 6% up on last year. And our confidence to continue investing in Guinea's future, in growth and life extension at Siguiri, we see potential for both. That is grounded in the predictable fiscal and legislative framework that we enjoy in Guinea. That and the strong, lasting partnerships that we've been able to form with communities, with government at every level, to ensure that benefits from the responsible development of these ore bodies are widely shared and long-lasting. Lastly, over a quarter of a century in Tanzania, our Geita gold mine has produced more than 10 million ounces. This mine is a beast. It is our most reliable performer. It's got unbelievable geology, and it's a cornerstone of Tanzania's modern mining sector. It does more than just produce gold. It's provided thousands of high-quality jobs, skills of people that remain at Geita, others who've moved on to form large and successful businesses in the country. And it delivers the revenues from Geita, deliver enduring infrastructure, health, and education initiatives in the region that we're immensely proud of. Geita, again, roughly the same size as Sukari for us, and it remains a model for how long-term mining operations done right can partner with host communities to create lasting value. We've got a clear path ahead of us in Africa. We'll continue to invest in the ramp-up at Obuasi and the extension of mine life at both of our Ghana operations. We'll continue to work to unlock Sukari's full potential through efficiency gains and investment in carefully targeted exploration, both near the mine site and in the broader region. We'll build on Siguiri's consistent delivery, and we'll look for opportunities to grow production and further enhance value. In Tanzania, we will invest in a considerable extension to the life of this operation, which is vital to both Tanzania and AngloGold Ashanti. And we will maintain our cost leadership and disciplined capital allocation, ensuring every dollar of strong gold price is converted into lasting value and benefit for all of our stakeholders. Above all, we'll continue to mine responsibly, balancing, as we always strive to do, economic returns on one hand with environmental stewardship, safety, and meaningful community participation. There's an old African proverb that says, we claim it in South Africa, but I've heard almost everybody else claim this one, that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We've come a long way already together with our partners, and we're proud of that. But we're more optimistic than ever about the road ahead and the prospect of going much further in close partnership with our stakeholders in government and with our host communities. Thank you very much.